is going to start.
So let me just chant a few slokas.
Do you want to, Manjari, do you want to make me co-host?
Sorry? I've started.
Okay. Vanchakalpa Trubhischa, Kripasinduevacha, Vaishnavabhya Namah, Om Gyan Tirumandasya, Yanjana Salakaya, Chakshurmilitamyana, Tashmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Narapi Sunichina, Sarvarapi Sahishina, Amanina Manadina, Yisnitara Hari, Tatenukampam Susamikshamano, Bunjana Ivatma Kritam Vipakam, Hitvak Vapupi Vididam Namaste, Jiveta Yo Muktis Padesa Dayabak, Anya Blasta Sunyam Gyan Kamadiana Vritam, Anukalanya Krishna Shilam Bhakti Uttama, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadata Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Devotees, brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, cousins, sons and daughters, welcome to Mercy, Grace, Lila on this Thursday session. Very happy to welcome back our sweet god brother or godfather, Sripada BV Avadhuta Maharaja, who's touring with Sripada BV Avadhuta Shanta Maharaj, and they're currently in Texas, in America, giving up their valuable time to be with us and help us relish his guitar and their guitar. It was promoted that we were going to talk about Navadvip Lila. Of course, just to contextualize what we're doing, we're trying to build up some greed for Gurudev's 2021 Kartik centennial. And there's two aspects, two paths to that. One is begging for the mercy of the Acharyas on their disappearance and appearance days, which is what we're doing on Mondays. And on Thursdays, we're absorbing ourselves in the Navadvip Lila, then going through the Navadvip Parikram, and then we'll go on to the Kartik Lila. So today is Lila Day, Navadvip Lila Day. So partly by Krishna's arrangement and circumstance, and partly because of my own personal technical incompetence, the promotion today was Rudadweep and Sakyam worship. But actually Maharaj is going to complete the Jagai and Madhai reading that he started very mellifluously last week. And he'll continue on that subject matter. And I just wanted to say thank you to both Maharajas for participating. For some reason, our paths have not crossed very much over the years, but I'm really feeling some sweet association with you. And just by your very example and the sweetness of your being, these are beautiful instructions that are going into my heart, even though you're not explicitly instructing me on anything, just by your example and the way you conduct yourselves. This is of inspiration to me. So thank you very much. And I humbly give way to you to complete the class today. And then I think, Maharaj, you're happy to take questions during, right?
What's that?
You're happy to take questions during.
Oh yeah, anybody wants to interrupt, there's no offense. I'd be happy to.
So if anyone wants to ask a question, please go to the Zoom chat. Just let me know that you want to ask a question and then I'll call on you. That's it. Okay, Maharaj, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sharananda Prabhu and Manjulali Didi, Switzerland, Damdar Prabhu in Badger or Los Angeles, I'm not sure which, and to Brajeshwari Rasi. So offering my respects to our spiritual masters, Namam Vishnupadaya Krishnamurti Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamani. Namaste Saraswati Devam Gaudavani Pacharane Nivashishunyvari Paskachada Satalade. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Sai Bhutale Shri Shriman Gaur Swami Tanamani. Namo Vishnu Padaya Radhikai Priyatmane Shri Shriman Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Tanamani. Shri Krishna Lila Kadani Sudaksham Madhurya Madhurya Ganushnutam Balam Balani Purusha Mahantam Mayam Tvam Shirshanamami. I'm offering my pranams to my initiating spiritual master, Diksha Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has so kindly come to these Western worlds to deliver them from impersonalism and voidism and establish this Krishna consciousness movement in the Western world. I'm also offering my heartfelt Dandavat pranams to the lotus feet of Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj, who was and is my Siksha Guru. He was a disciple also and my godbrother, yet he is a Jatirati Sadhaka, fully steeped in Rasa Tattva, a realized soul, and for many people who knew him, a great Mahabhagavat. So he cleared up a lot of the discrepancies that were manifesting after Srila Prabhupada left the world due to various reasons. So he is very dear to the Vaishnavas and to those who wanted to continue in the line of pure bhakti as established by Srila Prabhupada without getting derailed or detracted by conflicting ideas about Jiva Tattva and Guru Tattva. Also, offering my respectful and Dandavat pranams to the Lord's feet of my Sannyas Guru, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, who further continue the line of thought of our Sampradaya, and in continuing what Srila Prabhupada started, Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj refined on, he brought Rasa Tattva to a new level. The devotees were upgraded in their understanding of the relationship of the soul to the Supreme Soul and the relationships between the Parshads in the spiritual world and their manifest Leelas, which are going on continually, and which we hope one day to enter into. So all glories to their mercy, which continues to pour on those who take shelter of their books and their videos and their audios. So Tad Bhignartam Saguru Nivagajat, surrendering to a spiritual master, taking guidance from pure devotee is absolutely necessary for achieving the goal of Krishna Prema. It's impossible to achieve love of God without associating with the lover of God. It's absolutely necessary. Sadhusanga, sadhusanga, sarvashashta krai, lavamatra sadhusanga, sarvashri hai. Gaur Govinda Maharaj is particularly fond of establishing this principle of associating with high-class Vaishnavas, as was our Srila Gurudev. Acharya mam vijanyam nava manjari kari chit. A spiritual master is not an ordinary person. He's coming from the spiritual world. And he is an associate of the Lord in Nitya Lila. So he knows the personality of Godhead. And he can deliver him and her, Radha and Krishna, into the heart of the submissive and surrendered jiva. So anybody can achieve that level of bhakti. Although we may be conditioned souls, by the power of bhakti, pure bhakti, as established by Rupa Goswami, one can achieve Sarup Siddhi, whereby he enters into the Lila and pastimes of Radha and Krishna in his own Sarup. So that is Sarup is revealed by Guru at the proper time when one's bhakti comes to the level of bhav, and even before that. So therefore we have to follow their instructions very strictly in order to achieve that very lofty goal and not be detracted by material desires or the desire for liberation. Kiva vipa kiva nasi surakiranaye Krishna-tattva-vita se Guru hoy. So Guru is anyone who understands Krishna Tattva. Does not have to take birth in a certain family, in a certain country, in a certain race, at a certain time, place, etc. One simply has to understand the science of Krishna as he has received it in the line of disciplic succession, bona fide line of disciplic succession, and explain it to others. So we know there is Guru, Siksha Guru, Diksha Guru, Manta Guru, Sannyas Guru. All these are different manifestations of the principle of Shri Guru, who come simply to deliver the conditioned souls to their original Krishna consciousness. Krishna's consciousness is established in the heart eternally, is not gained from somewhere else. It is already there in the heart. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sajikavanoy Shravanada Siddha Chitikara Yadoy. So by the process of hearing and chanting, remembering, worshiping, praying, serving, etc., Noda Bhakti, that original Krishna consciousness is revived in the heart and manifest by the grace of Guru. So it is something that is within. The kingdom of God is within. That is what Jesus Christ said. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he prays Vande Gurun Ishabhaktan Ishabhataram Tatpakasam Tatchakti Krishna Chaitanya Samdikam. He is worshipping the Lord Shri Chaitanya in all his different manifestations as the original Swayam Bhagavan, as his expansion, as his servant, as his Prakash, and fire manifestations, Panchatattva. So by the mercy of the Panchatattva, everything can be revealed. Heno Nitabhinabai Radha Krishna Paitinad. Without the mercy of Krishna Chaitanya and his quote-unquote brother, Lord Nityananda, we cannot achieve Radha and Krishna. So this is why Navadvip Dham is so glorious. It is non-different from Vrindavan Dham. And there, all the different leelas and pastimes can be realized and relished. And by hearing those pastimes of Navadvip Lila, automatically one comes into the abode of Radha and Krishna. So the key is living in Vrindavan, living in Navadvip, worshipping Gaura-Nitai, and remembering their pastimes under the guidance of Guru and his associates. So we have spoken before about Jagai and Madhai, who were Brahmin by birth, had fallen, become degraded, and become despicable personalities, was Nityananda's idea. The Mahaprabhu will attain glory if these two fallen souls could be delivered. And he and Haridas, under the order of Mahaprabhu, went canvassing people daily in Navadvip So one day, Jagai and Madhai had come to the ghat where Lord Chaitanya was bathing in the Ganges. And they had made a base there. And from there, they were wandering, creating all kinds of mischief. And people had become terrified, fearful of Jagai and Madhai. They would no longer come and bathe wherever they were. They would leave the place immediately. So they were staying near Mahaprabhu's home. So they're also hearing the kirtan, because kirtan was going on at night. But they were under the influence, intoxicated, as they were fond to drink. And this is going on even when in the holy Dham today. You find people, not just taking alcohol, but also even in temples, taking marijuana and doing so many things opposed to pure bhakti. So, nonetheless, they would dance upon hearing the sound and continue to drink. And resuming their dancing, they lost sense of where they were, what they were doing. Then, when they saw Mahaprabhu, they said, Nimai, you must complete the song to Chandi. They are worshippers of Durga, but they like to hear Chandi Kirtan, Durga worship, Durga Kirtan. So Lord Chaitanya also avoided these two rascals. And we know also from having been to Bhakti Fest year after year in Los Angeles, many people are fond of Shiva and Durga Kirtan. But Kirtan is only meant for Krishna Kirtan. This is not actually Kirtan. And the worshipping of the demigods is condemned by Narottam Das Thakur, which should be strictly avoided, especially though with the mood that Shiva, Durga, Ganesh are all independent lords. There is only one supreme lord, Ishwar Paramakrishna Satchidananda Viraha. He is the supreme absolute truth, and all other truths are secondary to him. And that he is also the personification of Lord Chaitanya, Swayam Bhagavan. We cannot say Lord Chaitanya came later or Krishna came first. No, both are the Swayam Bhagavan. One appears in Navadvip, one other appears in Vrindavan, but they are both the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one night after wandering through the town, Nityananda was returning, and Jagai and Madhai came up to him and asked what his name was. So he said, my name is Avadhuta. Same as my name. And just on the side, I'll tell you, we were in Navadvip and we were supposed to choose a name before the sannyas ceremony. So Srila Gurudev called me, he said, what name you want? So there was a list of 108 names in one particular book, which the devotees were going through. So there are 3 names I had some interest in. And so I named those 3 names. But when I came to the name Avadhuta, then Srila Gurudev looked at me and said, yes, Avadhuta. So he gave me that name. So anyway, Nityananda is Avadhuta because he's completely unconventional. I mean, sometimes he's completely naked, wears his dhoti on his head. And he's not intoxicated, he's just mad in love of God. So anyway, Nityananda's idea was to deliver these rascals. And Madhai actually became so enraged seeing Nityananda, he broke a pot on his head, clay pot, and blood flowed from the striking of his head. And Jagai, was a little different from his brother. He had a little more softness to his heart. So according to the pastime, he grabbed his brother because he was about to strike Nityananda again. And Jagai told him, "Why are you acting so cruelly? Leave him be, that's enough. Do not hit that Avadhuta again. And what will you gain by hitting a sannyasi?" So people who were watching this and horrified and went to tell Mahaprabhu what had taken place. Mahaprabhu, of course, was enraged. He ran to that place with his associates. On seeing the blood flowing from the forehead of Nityananda, he lost it and said, "Chakra, chakra, chakra." So, the original personality of Godhead, Swayam Bhagavan's chakra immediately showed up. When Jagai and Madhai saw the chakra, they changed, became a little bit sober. But before Mahaprabhu could use that chakra, Nityananda grabbed his Lord by the legs and said, "Oh, Madhai has hit me, but Jagai protected me. So although the blood is flowing from my head, I don't feel any pain. So please be merciful, be peaceful, and help save these souls." So Lord Chaitanya, when he heard that Jagai had protected Nityananda, then he embraced Jagai and said, "May Krishna be merciful to you. By protecting Nityananda, you have purchased my heart. Whatever you desire, I will give you. And today I'm going to give you the most treasured Prem Bhakti." So when the Vaishnavas saw this and heard this, they became uproarious. Jagai has received the mercy. And Jagai immediately fell unconscious in transcendental love at the lotus feet of the two lords. And then Mahaprabhu showed his Chaturbhuj, four-handed form. And when Madhai saw Mahaprabhu's mercy on his brother, he fell down at the Lord's feet and said, "Why not me? You gave it to Jagai, why not me?" So Mahaprabhu said, "No chance, because you have brought blood from my brother Nityananda's head. However, if Nityananda forgives you, then I will forgive you." So then Madhai made a move to Nityananda, whom he had struck, and begged for forgiveness. So Nityananda is Kripa Murti, the merciful form of the Lord. And he said, "O Lord, if I have performed any good deeds in any birth, and I give the results of those deeds to Madhai, please accept him." So we can instill this mood in our own life, Many times Gurudev spoke about humility, about tolerance. And of course, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has emphasized Tunadapi Sunachina Turapi Shishnuna Amani Namanane Kirtini Sarahari, to tolerate anything and everything on our personal head. If somebody is a devotee and is being attacked, then we could use our anger to save that devotee, to protect him. Like here, Jagai protected Nityananda. So that is devotional. Mahaprabhu was purchased. But for our own self, we can remain humble even if somebody dumps a bucket of urine on our head. So Mahaprabhu was submissive to the words of Nityananda, was an obedience to him, he was pleased with Nityananda, and therefore he embraced Madhai So these two brothers, Jagai and Madhai, who were complete rogues, were transformed by the Lord directly himself. And they were all brought to Mahaprabhu's home by the Lord, with Nityananda, with Haridas and Srivas. And they all became immersed in Harinam Sankirtan. So this is the mercy of the Lord, forgiveness he gave to both brothers. But we know Madhai was fully repentant after all this. So he begged the Lord for some service because he felt particularly remorseful. The Lord told him, all right, you make a ghat, and at that ghat you remain there and wash the feet of the devotees who come to bathe. So Madhai set to work. He built this beautiful ghat in Navadvip, and you can visit it when you go there. And this way, Madhai took the Lord's mercy on his head and served the Vaishnavas. So if there's anything wrong in our life, anything we have done to offend Vaishnavas, then we should serve them and ask for forgiveness to remove this anartha from our hearts. When all the anarthas in our hearts are removed, then the Lord will manifest his glory. And the only reason we are not tasting prema is because of these anarthas in our heart. So that was the example of Mahaprabhu's mercy in obedience to the words of Nityananda. So Nityananda Bina Bhai Radha Krishna Patinaya, we all should approach Nityananda in the same mood as Raghunath Das Goswami arranged the Panihati festival on the order of Nityananda and fed everyone from top to bottom. Sweets, 2 cups of chidahi, flat rice with yogurt, flat rice with condensed milk and fruits. And everyone did kirtan. And that festival was so unique and glorious that the Lord himself appeared and began to dance with Nityananda. And uniquely enough, the same principle was there at the establishment or the installation of Narottam Das Thakur's deities in Katuri, which is on the bank of the Ganges. I've never been there, I always wanted to go there. But he performed a festival after he, Shyamanand, and Srinivas had carried the books from Vrindavan to Bengal. So in that festival, Genevieve Ma was there, the wife of Nityananda. And after the installation of 6 sets of deities, then in the kirtan, in which Narottam was singing, and Narottam had, of course, a special style of kirtan. Everybody's hearts were swooning and melting, and Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda also came and appeared before everyone to dance and sing.
Maharaj, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Given that Lord Nityananda is Guru, is ultimate Guru, and given the
Akanda Guru Tattva,
and given the extreme fallenness of Jagai and Madhai, is this story not a message to us that however fallen we consider ourselves to be, and devotees, we often say how fallen we are, but Prabhupada once said, no one is the most, you're not the most fallen, there's always someone more fallen than you. So sometimes we project our negative ego onto this concept of being so fallen. So could it be that this story, this amazing story, is actually a message to us that if we have full faith in Guru, our Guru, that he can deliver us, then we can have full faith, we can be pure devotees in this lifetime by his grace, not because of our qualification. And therefore it's an extremely positive message of our receiving of grace from Guru. We can go beyond our own failings by the grace of Guru.
Yeah, we have to pray to his lotus feet every minute, every day, because of where we were and where we could have been if it wasn't for him. Because the material world is a very dark, ugly place. You know, we're reading how bad things are today, and how, I mean, when I was reading about the biography of Kesha Maharaj, the Param Gurudev, spiritual master Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj, and he was stating how even though things are in Kali Yuga are bad, they get progressively worse. People become progressively heinous, degraded. Yet the powerful mercy of Lord Chaitanya is so powerful that it can create a pure devotee despite how fallen and degraded they have become.
Yeah.
And we've seen it, you know. That's why this story is so easy to identify with, because our own history and the history of others in the West here who came to Mahaprabhu's mission, attracted by the holy name in Prasadam. So we should have no remorse. Whatever happened in the past has happened. Of course, we should not revert to what we were doing before. We should be very staunch. Once we have received the mercy, we should sin no more. I felt very sorry because I had a Bhaktivedanta Pradarsha Guru who brought me to Krishna consciousness and was Prabhupada's personal cook for some time, and was instructed to begin the preaching in Australia. And he was charismatic, just completely charismatic. People were just attracted to him, and he kind of looked like Prabhupada for me. Very jolly, very friendly. And yet, despite that, when Prabhupada left, he again fell and told me personally he'd come back to where he was before he even began Krishna consciousness. So I felt so sorry for him. And I almost didn't know what to do. He was the one that brought me Krishna consciousness. And gave everything, but he was so unfixed in his principles. I remember he also had a run-in with Prabhupada in Sydney, because we were in Australia, where Sydney was the capital. Actually, the capital is not Sydney, but
Canberra.
Canberra, yeah. But Sydney, I think, is probably the biggest city.
Yeah.
But when he was there, Prabhupada had chastised him because he had a crowd of devotees listening to him, but he wasn't talking Krishna Katha. So he got chastised for not, leading the devotees, giving them Harikatha. So we have taken the mercy of Guru, then we should reiterate what he has spoken to us, to others. That will make our life successful. And we should remember everything Prabhupada said to us. We should remember and repeat everything Srila Gurudev had said to us, and which we have heard from others. We should keep that in our heart and also repeat it, and any other Siksha Guru in our line. And that will, keep us above water and help others to come out of the sludge of material existence. Even just if it's a little short anecdote about the Lord, it can have a very powerful effect. And we used to always love this katha from Navdeep Lila. And I remember in the early days, we used to love speaking Prahlad Chitra. Of course, Nishingadev katha. It was very relishable. So, you know, there's some remorseness, and that should be there for what we've done. And we should see how foolish we were, how fallen we were, and pray to Gurudev we never fall to such depravity again, and always stay in the association of devotees and have have at our disposal all the books that have been penned by our acharyas. The other day, I don't know who did this, but I went in the back of the farm here to the garbage dump, and there was a whole barrel full of books. And it had been raining that day, so it was full of water. So I said, "Oh my God!" And so I grabbed all the books. I put them out inside the house to dry, and when the sun came out, I put them out in the sun to dry. There's some of Gurudev's books, some of Prabhupada's books. And then I found a whole, beautifully written notebook of Savitra's Katha from 1996. You know Savita? So it was very beautiful. She was like an echo chamber of Gurudev's instructions, just repeating everything Gurudev said. So this devotee, I don't know who wrote the notebooks, but I've been relishing it, just reading it every day. There was Prabodhananda's Chaitanya Chandamrita, which was like hand typed and kind of edited. I'm reading that also, but this whole thing was full of nectar, and somebody had thrown it out. I haven't yet to find out who it is. And then there are some harmonists, which were fortunately in plastic, which I saved. And then we have a little center with one of our devotees is trying to start in Detroit. So she wrote me that she has distributed all the books we had sent her. So we took these books. We said, "Oh, I've got more books for you." So I took all those books that were dried and still distributable and sent them to her the other day. But these books are so valuable, So if we ever feel, Maya is attacking or the material energy is becoming heavy, we should take shelter of these books.
Well,
yeah.
I just want to let you know today I was speaking to Sripada Bhaktivedanta Chaitanya Maharaj in Mayapur. And they're going to this apparently the biggest repository of Bengali Vaishnava literature in the whole of Bengal. It's just like a treasure trove of literature, both from great Vaishnavas who have books that have not been published, and also of great Vaishnavas who we don't even know of. And there's some potential there of both publishing them in Bengali and also in English. So there's a whole treasure trove of new Bengali Vaishnava literature ready to manifest for the Western world. It's quite amazing.
And Chaitanya Maharaj has his hands on it?
Well, I don't know. It's coming into his field of vision. It's a long way from manifesting as a project, but it's quite extraordinary. Beginning to think about assembling a Bengali English team of you know, he's very experienced at editing, publishing books. So it's just amazing that this is manifesting, even to be in his vision. It's very beautiful.
And you remember last time we were on your show, I think I mentioned that Srila Gurudev had prayed to Param Gurudev Krishna Maharaj that the Goswamis and Bhakti Vinod in particular manifest their mercy to him. And Guru said, and Param Gurudev Krishna Maharaj says, yes, we can arrange that. And the next week, a truck came from some villager who was very old, but took all of his books and put them in a truck and drove to the Keshava, Mathura Keshava Gaudiya Math and brought them to Gurudev. All these, Vaishnav Gaudiya Siddhantic books by the Goswamis, by the Goswami associates. And shortly thereafter, also, a Hindi version of Jaiva Dharma was brought, and Keshav Maharaj, Param Gurudev, gave it directly to Shiva Gurudev and said, look, here, Jaiva Dharma, Bhakti Vinod Thakur's mercy has come. I want you to translate it. And that will do you good and do the whole world good. So if we pray, it never goes in vain to the acharyas, and especially the Goswamis, because without going through the Goswamis, we cannot get to Radha and Krishna. They were under the lordship of Nityananda and Mahaprabhu. So, yeah, books are the basis, especially now, we're locked up, quarantined. What else can you do? You have to read and relish. And of course, associate with others and speak the katha. So here in the morning in the farm, we read the Bhagavatam in the morning. We're on the Chatusloki Bhagavatam, chapter 9, canto 2, verses 33, 34, 35, no, 32, 33, 34, 35, ninth chapter. Hameva Sami Bhagavad Nanya Sada Palam, and so on. In the evening, we read Madhurya Kandambani by Gurudev. But in between, like I said, I've been reading the notes I've pulled out of somebody out of the garbage of Savita, the Chaitanya Chandamrita, and so many other books are there. It's like you can read for the rest of your life. But ideally, we should be in Navadvip Dham. That is where all the mercy, flows. And Tridandi Maharaj, he did the right thing.
He's also found Maharaj, he's also found a deity, most extraordinary deity of Vibhadra, Nityananda's son. And it's like the most stunning deity. I'd like to share it actually.
You have a picture there?
Yeah, I'll send it to the group on WhatsApp. And it's absolutely captivating. And apparently whoever's looking after it has got into some financial problems and they've sold a lot of it off to a car park. So you've got this kind of dilapidated, tawdry car park situation with this fairly clapped out sort of edifice, but then you've got this incredible deity within. And it's just amazing. It's like uncovering something very magical.
And how does he know it's a deity of Balabhadra?
No, Virabhadra.
Virabhadra.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't ask him that actually. I think it was self-evident, but I can ask him.
Because
I'm sending it to the group now.
I could also share my screen and show it if you.
Virabhadra was a manifestation of Shri Sai Vishnu. Is that true?
Yes. Yes.
And he and his mother Janava were like after Mahaprabhu left and Nityananda left, they're like the leaders of the Gaudiya Vaishnavas.
Yes.
And she and Virabhadra were also at the festival of Katuri when Narottam established the deities. Yeah, that's
I've
wonderful.
just sent it on the event WhatsApp, Maharaj. So if you look at your WhatsApp, you have his picture,
Oh, great,
as,
wonderful.
as
Thank
does
you.
everyone else. It's amazing, absolutely captivating.
Have you ever been to Ekachakra?
Yes.
There it is. Wow. Jai. Beautiful. Jai Badra Maharaj. Now, Badra never married. So he's like the only son of Nityananda. There's no other descendant from that bloodline. And yet, there is a following of Nityananda Vamsha in Navadvip that claims to be, in the bloodline of Nityananda. But how is it possible if Virabhadra had no children?
How many children did Nityananda have?
Just Virabhadra. So, we don't accept that, And we have Sukracharya, he's a guru of the demons, right? So Sukra means semen. So it's a seminal line. And Shibati Rakshakshidhar Maharaj said the seminal line is really just a line of dead bodies. We care about the Atma, the soul, and in our Parampara, Bhagavad Parampara, we say the soul who is the most empowered, he's the next link in the Sampradaya. Not that it just comes through a seminal line. So this is what some of the followers of Mahaprabhu were saying, that we have a monopoly because we come on the line of Nityananda. But Virabhadra had no children, so it's impossible.
I think Nityananda Prabhu had some other children who died, right?
No.
No, he didn't.
Oh, maybe he did. Yeah, maybe he did.
I thought he had 6 children who all died because a great soul, a great avatar, he had the boon, he had the power to either, if he glanced on you, you would either die or there'd be a crack in the deity.
Oh, well, Advaita had that power.
Yeah,
When
I
his
think
name,
so.
his name was Kamalakshana, and also Sridham, who appeared as
Sridham.
Yeah, he appeared as was it Goridas Pandit? No. Who was the appearance? Who was the manifestation of Sridham in Gaura Lila?
I can't remember.
Is it Goridas Pandit? No, Goridas Pandit is Subal. So Sridham is another personality, and he had the whip, the Jayamangala whip. And if he bowed to a deity, if the deity was not established, he would crack.
And if you weren't a pure devotee, you would die. So when he did that to this son who survived, it was a testament to his glory.
Right. Now, was there a daughter too? Because that personality bowed down to the daughter. The daughter didn't die either. So, but anyway, the point is that Krishna consciousness is not restricted to a seminal line, not to a family monopoly. It's given to the pure devotee, and you cannot say that the pure devotee is restricted by a seminal line. It's like a demoniac idea. I don't know. I mean, certainly, the seminal lineages are there, and they may add to your glory if you're, like Bhakti Siddhanta, serving the instructions of your father perfectly. But even the family of Bhakti Vinod, Lalit, the other brother of Bhakti Siddhanta, Lalit's, what was the rest of his name? He had a brother named Lalit. So Lalit was following the line of Raganuga Bhakti, and he was opposed to Bhakti Siddhanta. And he was living when Srila Prabhupada was still on the planet. And Srila Prabhupada went over to his house one day. And he said, I want to make your father's birthplace glorious. I have money. I have everything that I need to, make his house, upgraded so people will come and take darshan. And Lalit Prasad said no. And when Prabhupada heard that, he couldn't believe it. He said, what do you mean no? I will, make your father's name shine. People will be able to come and take darshan of his place. Lalit Prasad with persistence says, no, I don't want it to happen. And Prabhupada was furious. He was trying, he had to try to control it because he wanted to be respectful, because he wanted to respect, the family of his guru, like his guru. And Prabhupada was just flabbergasted on what to do, because he wanted to use the money he had from his disciples to glorify Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Because sometimes it came to be, people would ask about Lalit Prasad, and Prabhupada, would, without really trying to criticize him, say what he has done, And I think he was older than Bhakti Siddhanta. I don't know. Maybe he was younger. I'm not sure. But anyway, Prabhupada was furious. So Bhakti Siddhanta was a true son of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Just like we know from history also, Advaita Acharya had 6 children, and 6 of those 6 children, 3 were very good. Achyutanandana, one of them had died, came back to life, Gopal. But Prabhupada tells in purports to Chaitanya that 3 of the children were very good, and 3 of them were asar, useless, because they wouldn't follow the instructions of their father. So the point is, they're in the seminal line from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, but they're asar, completely useless. So for those who claim we are in the seminal line of so-and-so, Nityananda, which is a false claim anyway, it doesn't mean anything. What is important is the actual consciousness and the activities that are you perform. So therefore, Gurudev says our line is called the Bhagavad Sampradaya because it is based on the most prominent Vaishnav at the time. And he may come from a Diksha lineage, he may not. He may come from a family line of gurus, or he may not. We cannot say. Bhakti is independent.
Maharaj, why would a spiritual line whose axiomatic principles that we're not the body try to make it an argument that the line depends on something to do with the body? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's why, our Siksha Guru, Bhakti Rakshidharma, said it's a line of dead bodies. They're emphasizing the body, but it's, it's like a stone boat. You can't put your faith in a stone boat. The boat just sinks. You have to place your faith in something spiritually solid, not materially solid. So a stone boat is materially solid, but it'll sink. So these ideas, they may have some material basis, but they all sink under the weight of Vaishnava Siddhanta. And that's, peculiar to the name of Prabhupada's Guru, Bhakti Siddhanta. The actual philosophy is incorporated in the words of our Param Gurudev. So we have so much pride in our heritage, but it's not based on something gross, like the body. It's based on the teaching, the siksha, and ours is a siksha line, A siksha guru must be there, particularly if your diksha guru leaves, And even if your siksha guru leaves, there's still, you can take siksha from so many. And now today, we've had direct darshan of Prabhupada, Gurudev, Gaur Govinda Maharaj. For some people, Sridhar Maharaj. For some people, Aniruddha in Jaipur. For some people, today they have also their living Siksha Guru. So whoever embodies those teachings perfectly to your mind, you should take Siksha from them, an example. To stay afloat, because there's so much heavy things coming down, especially nowadays, which, we can say so many things about, but we don't want to digress from the class. So anyway, in Madhai's and Jagai's Lila, there is so much to be said. And now it's our turn. We have come to bat, like a baseball game. When you come up to bat, you got to swing. So we have to carry the instructions of Gurudev on our head and follow them as best we can, and then teach them to others. So that's why another argument comes up about establishing a center. Bhaktivinoda Thakur established Namhanta preaching, where you build up the interest, and eventually when there's enough people, you form a Namhanta center, and eventually when there's enough interest in the center, then you form a temple. So everything is grassroots. From one, like they have the saying nowadays, they have all these people who are trying to sell something or other, especially in the health line, they keep saying we're saving, with our vitamin B or vitamin C, one soul at a time. So similarly with ours, we're preaching one soul at a time. Whoever we meet, yadi dekitadikaha Krishna Padas. We may meet somebody in the street, in the shop. The other day we're in the factory, and the person who checks the fire extinguishers was there. So he was, boasting, I'm now 60 years old, and blah, blah, blah. And he was a Christian, because this is like, Texas is kind of like the Bible Belt. So, we got into a little discussion with him. He said he believed in reincarnation, but he was, boasting how he was using his time in hunting. There's a lot of hunters here in Texas. They love shooting deer. So it was an interesting discussion, because he said a hunter has an obligation, because if there's too many of a certain species, the hunter's job is to eliminate them. Like right now on the farm, we have too many skunks. So if the skunks start taking over, what are we supposed to do? Like in the temple, we had a temple in Sydney, Australia. Remember, we had so many cockroaches, and we tried everything, and they still came back. So I think Prabhupada also says in his book, in his conversations, if there's, how do they call it, when there's a pandemic of rodents, what do? You have to kill them. Although the Bhagavatam says you shouldn't even kill an insect. But if they're spoiling your temple, spoiling the offering, I remember in Sydney, we had a lot of problem with rats. And I remember going downstairs. Prabhupada came to this temple. We had a kitchen downstairs, but going downstairs, there was a rat coming upstairs when I was going downstairs to prepare for Mangalarti. And nowadays, like here, we have these live traps. You can trap a rat live, and then you got to take them out and let them go somewhere else.
Would it have been different if the rat was going downstairs with you to Mangalati, Maharaj?
Yeah. We had a
How-
possum. We had a possum too in Sydney. We moved to a place called Glebe when Charu from Spanish Fork was there. He was expert in getting good properties. So we had a possum that would go stay up in a tree, and right after Mangalarti would come down. Because when the devotees would take the Mangalarti prashadam and distribute it, and they'd save some for the possum. So he would always come down from the tree after the arti.
Maharaj, I have a question for you, which I think is going to be very relevant for a lot of people on this call, which is that we've done, it's a bit of a follow-up question from my last one about mercy and grace and the faith one can have in Guru, that we can be pure devotees in this lifetime, even though we have no qualification. And with the story of Jagai and Madhai, they kind of make, they make the light goes on in one go with them. It's not a slow evolution of bhakti for them. They're just like rascals 1 minute, and then they become self-realized the next, they get liberated. But for most of us, it's not a linear path, it's a bumpy road. We get inspiration, then we get little sort of temptations and little seeds of doubt or weakness. So most of us don't kind of go right off, we don't leave Krishna conscious, but maybe some indulgences here and there, sometimes heavy, sometimes light. We feel bad about ourselves, all that kind of stuff. How do you always keep on moving, you always have faith in Gurudev, but how do you get a balance between being remorseful for going off the path or doing things that aren't bona fide, and at the same time staying on the path with enthusiasm?
We do have, Prabhupada used to tell us to come to India once a year to get your batteries recharged. Because in the West here, it's like your batteries get drained very quickly. Just seeing materialistic people, talking to materialistic people, and even sometimes having, devotees talking about certain material things, which can, all bring down the mind. So, Sadhusanga, Nam Kirtan, Shri Vigraha Sevana, Srimad Bhagavatam, they're all the 5 most energetic, powerful limbs of bhakti and japa. So, we have the idea that we want to be in Raganuga. We want to identify that we are Manjari serving Radharani, living in Yavat and serving here throughout the day. In our meditation, in our japa. So the japa, in the morning can be the most valuable thing in your special little place, so that you're doing your arti with heartfelt devotion. You're doing your seva there to the deity. You're chanting the holy name like we're doing. We're also hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. All those 5 are there. And Sadhusanga, we're hearing the words of the Acharya. He may not be personally present, but he is, and his words are also him. So hearing the Acharya's words, serving the deity, and then chanting japa, you can also, as Gurudev has said, you can read different verses from the Bhagavatam, from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, to enthuse your meditation on the holy name. So hearing the Bhagavatam, Sadhusanga, chanting the holy name, worshiping the deity, and living in the Dham. So if we can't live in the Dham, at least we can remember the holy Dham. So this is why your class is very nice. You're remembering Navadvip Dham today, hearing about Jagai and Madhai, Madhai Ghat, and the place of Lord Chaitanya's birth, which Jagai and Madhai were living near because they heard the kirtan. So, if it were, I don't know, I got a letter yesterday from Madhav Maharaj inviting us and other sannyasis to come to the Centennial Festival in New Delhi on the 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then in March in Navadvip. also. So I don't know if it's possible, but that was the principle Prabhupada established, that you do your preaching for 1 year, and then you come in March to Navadvip and also visit Vrindavan. Like Gurudev had to come twice a year, to Kartik and then to Gaur Purnima. So that is a saving grace. And then I've been personally, I haven't been there I was in Hong Kong just before the pandemic was released, the germ warfare. And so I didn't go to Navadvip when I was in Hong Kong, and I came to the West. And then I skipped again those festivals. Whether we can go this year to Navadvip, I don't know. But that was always a saving grace. Whenever anyone knows personally that when you go to the Dham, you feel exhilarated immediately. Just being there, you feel the energy. And the devotees who are there also are, feeling exalted. So other than that, you take those 5 principles and apply it daily, with in good association. Or even if you're alone, you pray for the mercy of your guru and param gurus to give you their mercy. If there's nobody to associate with, what else can you do? Except get online like we are here on Zoom. You can Zoom over to Zoom and get some association. But otherwise, Krishnadas Kaviraj emphasizes those 5 principles of Noda Bhakti. And the more you apply it with enthusiasm, we know from Rupa Goswami's Upadeshamrita that Utsaha Nishtaya Taryat, enthusiasm is one of the keys to be fired up. So that's what I have to say, You have a good wife. Well, actually, your wife is in Switzerland, right?
Whose wife?
Where's your wife?
Oh no, my wife is now ex-wife, Australia.
She's in Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, you're divorced?
Yes.
Oh, really? I didn't
6
know that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've never. I have a good. My heart is very positive towards her. I've never criticized her. She decided to move away from Krishna consciousness, but she still loves Gurudev. But maybe later, maybe she'll come back, to the path. She will,
right.
this lifetime or next lifetime.
Yeah, anyways, after Guru leaves, it's very difficult for many people.
Yes, that made a big difference for her.
All right, so any other questions?
Any questions, my friends? Is that Vidara there or Lalita? Vidara normally has a good question.
Karuna from Victoria,
It's Lalita.
Vancouver.
Oh, Lalita's there.
Sorry.
Have you got a question, Lalita? Come on.
No, but it was very nice. It was beautiful. Thank you.
Just being with Maharaj puts you in a meditative state, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know if he knows the effect he has.
Very sweet.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I feel transported. I don't feel transported to Texas, Maharaj. I definitely feel transported to a better place than that.
It's a little chilly here. The peacocks are wandering around.
They're probably wondering what you're doing in Texas.
Yeah, we have about 3 greenhouses, and I can see the devotee, working in the garden. We eat only organic here. Everything is organic. No commercial food full of pesticides and herbicides and fertilizer. So you feel happy eating here because it's all organic and it's offered to the deities.
Not only organic, but I mean, you're getting it straight out of the ground. I mean, it's like
right out of the ground.
No handling.
Yeah, there's no transportation. It's all here. So, we heard a class. I was sitting with Sarananda in the temple. We heard a class by our godbrother who's in New York, emphasizing how Prabhupada wanted to establish farming communities in Krishna consciousness, because in the future, things may become crazy in the cities. You know, people, as now, as you know, they're locked down, they're quarantined. And here in America, you know, the cities became full of mad rioting people. So here, you know, nobody wears a mask. There's no lockdown. There's no quarantine. You can walk around. The animals there, we have the cows, you know, beautiful Indian cows, and they're giving milk. And also, not only is the food organic, but we got the special milk, which is, you know, they say is full of gold also. Um, and due to the training of Sadananda in business, he's got a factory here which is producing, you know, organic health foods. So it is quite unique, and we'd like to invite you and anybody to come here, especially if things get a little rough, you know, because we're building housing now. We have a block making machine which takes the earth and, you know, compresses it into a brick. And so we're just starting our first house. And then, you know, from the milk we make yogurt and other things. So it's quite unique, and you feel, you know, in the city there's a lot of problems just with dealing with the traffic, you know, we'll just speak of other things, you know, and the security, you know. I mean, everybody in the city has a lock on their door, or 2 or 3, and then they have to watch out for their car. But here, you can leave your keys in your car, you can leave the car unlocked, and you're free, you know. You feel like happy just being here. So the only thing is, not everybody comes to Mangalarti, you know. That's our own main problem. We have a program, but not, you know, because people working in the factory, people working in the field, for whatever reason, we can't get everybody to come into the morning program. Otherwise, we have an evening program, but everybody gets along. There's no quarreling, no fighting, nothing. So it's very peaceful here.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
Yeah.
I remember getting to know that place a little bit through Abiram. Do you remember Abiram? I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Is he still there? Is he?
He was about to come here, but he just got kind of married, and he has a child on the way. So he's in Kauai, which is a little island in Hawaii.
Yeah.
But he may still come here, I don't know, but he's still in Kauai right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Marge. Thank you so
Sure.
much. That was really beautiful. I actually could go on for ages, just like in this this meditative state. I can see Lalita's pretty blissed out as well.
Where's Lalita? Lalita's from England?
Lalita's Badara's wife.
Oh, Badara's right. Oh, Hare Krishna. I don't think I ever met you.
Oh, Haribol.
Haribo, Jai.
Jai.
So thank you so much, Margie, and thank you for everybody. I always like to thank everyone for their Shravan, because there'd be no kirtan without Shravan. It's the there's our sweetheart
Shanta Maharaj.
Maharaj. How are you?
I'm not fine.
So on Monday we have Shamarani Didi will be glorifying various. It's a very busy Acharya disappearance and appearance week next week, starting Sunday. So on Monday, 6:30 GMT, that's 6:30 UK time, which is, what is that in Houston? That's half midday.
Right, a 6-hour difference here.
Yeah, so half midday your time. So we'll be back on Monday. Course material should be up tomorrow, hopefully correctly. And once again, thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, sure.
Haribo. Jai Nitai. Jai Nitai. Jai Nitai.
Jai Nitai.